When Jack Nicholson came out for an interview with Nkuti Gatwa, everyone thought it would be a normal interview, but Nicholson showed his true character and crushed the newcomer. Before we dive into the story, write in the comments where you are watching from and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the latest stories. The orchestra played a lively tune and Wolf leaned forward, his voice smooth as silk. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the star of Echoes of Tomorrow, Nkuti Gatwa, and our special guest, the legendary Jack Nicholson. The audience erupted in applause, and Nkuti settled into the guest chair, his energy infectious. Nicholson, sitting beside him, gave a slight nod with a barely noticeable smile. Nkuti, welcome to the show, Wolf began, his tone friendly. You're here to talk about Echoes of Tomorrow, time travel, ethical dilemmas, spectacular scenes. It sounds like something grand. Tell us about it. Nkuti lit up. It's an incredible project, Jake. The film is about Dr. Elias Kane, a scientist who discovers time travel but realizes that every change in the past has massive consequences. It's not just about technology, it's about identity, responsibility, and what it means to carry the weight of history. I think audiences will love how it makes them think. The crowd murmured approvingly, and Wolf nodded, his smile unwavering. Sounds deep. And you're playing the lead, which is a big step. Your first major film role, right? How's it feel to carry a blockbuster like that? It's exhilarating, Nkuti replied, his Scottish accent softening his words. It's a lot of pressure, but the team was fantastic. The director, Ava Chen, gave me so much freedom to bring Elias to life. He's a complex character, brilliant, flawed, but deeply human. The conversation flowed smoothly for a few minutes, with Nkuti sharing behind-the-scenes stories about filming in zero-gravity simulators and the challenges of portraying a scientist wrestling with ethical dilemmas. The audience laughed at his anecdotes, and even Wolf seemed charmed, smiling along. But Amara, watching from backstage, couldn't shake her unease. Wolf's warmth felt too polished, and Nicholson's silence felt too ominous. Suddenly, Nicholson leaned forward, his eyes narrowing, his signature smile taking on a predatory edge. You know, Nkuti, I've seen your work, he began, his gravelly voice cutting through the air. You're talented, no doubt. But I look at you, all these flashy outfits, this way you carry yourself, and I don't see toughness. I don't see what it takes to be a real actor. Frankly, you act like a sissy. What do you say to that? The audience gasped, the air in the studio seeming to vanish. Nkuti's smile faded, his eyes narrowed, and his hands gripped the armrests of the chair. Backstage, Amara froze, her heart pounding. He did it, she muttered, grabbing her phone to text the producers. In the control room, lead producer Marcus Reed cursed under his breath. Jack, damn it, he hissed, sensing the impending disaster. Nkuti tilted his head, his voice steady but laced with steel. Sorry, Jack, what do you mean? That I don't belong here because I don't fit your idea of a man? Nicholson shrugged, his smile widening. I'm saying you come off soft. All this theatrics, this behavior, it's not what we expect from a leading actor. You're prancing around in these bright clothes, waving your hands like some diva. And your background, Rwanda, Scotland, all that. Do you really think people will take you seriously as a blockbuster hero? Wolf jumped in, his tone deceptively casual. Jack's got a point, Nkuti. Your demeanor, your style, it's all a bit much. You know what people are saying? They see you and think, this guy's more of a showman than an actor. How do you deal with that? The audience shifted uncomfortably, some murmuring in disapproval, others whispering in shock. A few clapped, egged on by Nicholson's audacity, but the room was fracturing. Nkuti's jaw tightened, the pain in his eyes evident, but he held his ground. Jack, he said, his voice low but firm. I came here to talk about Echoes of Tomorrow, a film I poured my heart into. My toughness? It's in my work, my principles, my truth. I don't need to prove to you that I'm a man because I know who I am. Nicholson snorted, his voice dripping with disdain. Oh, come on, kid. You can tell yourself stories about truth, but face it. You act like a petulant girl, and it shows. Your attitude toward people, all this activism, these speeches about justice, it's just posturing. You're not an actor. You're a performance. The audience erupted in boos, and a man in the second row shouted, "That's too far." Amara, trembling with rage, rushed toward the control room, demanding they cut to commercial. The producers hesitated, knowing the drama was ratings gold but sensing the line had been crossed. Nkuti's face was a storm of emotions, anger, pain, and fierce resolve. He stood, his voice rising not in volume but in intensity. Enough. You both want to talk about toughness? Let's talk about respect. About being yourself despite the insults thrown at you by people like you. I was born in Rwanda, raised in Scotland, and I'm proud of my journey. I've broken barriers you can't even imagine. I'm not here to fit your outdated ideas of what a man or an actor should be. I'm here to tell stories, inspire people, change the world. And if you can't handle that, that's your weakness, not mine. The audience roared in support, clapping and cheering as Nkuti's words sliced through the tension like a blade. Wolf, rattled, forced a smile, but Nicholson didn't back down. "You're proving my point, kid," he growled, his eyes glinting with malice. "You're whining like a sissy, making a scene. If you can't handle a couple of tough questions, maybe Hollywood isn't your place." The studio fell silent, the weight of Nicholson's words hanging heavy. Nkuti's eyes glistened with unshed tears, but his posture remained proud. The betrayal from Nicholson, an icon he once admired, was a knife to the heart. The audience was divided. Some gasped in shock, others murmured in support of Nicholson's harshness. Amara screamed into her phone backstage, demanding the network stop the show. The producers, torn between panic and fascination, did nothing. Nkuti took a deep breath, his voice trembling but full of strength. "You know what? I don't need your approval. Not from you, Jack, not from you, Jake. I know who I am, and I know what I bring to this industry. You can throw insults, but you won't break me. I'm done." He ripped off his mic, tossed it onto the desk, and walked off the set, head held high despite the tears threatening to spill. The audience erupted in a mix of cheers and boos, the room a chaotic swirl of emotions. Wolf, scrambling to regain control, forced a laugh. "Well, folks, that's live TV. We'll be right back after this break." As the cameras cut to commercial, the control room exploded into chaos. "What the hell was that?" Marcus shouted, slamming his headset down. Amara burst in, her face flushed with fury. "You let this happen. You knew Jake and Jack would go there, and you did nothing. This is on you." When the cameras returned after the break, the studio of Late Night with Jake Wolf was in disarray. Jake Wolf tried to salvage the situation, his smile strained. "Well, that was unexpected, wasn't it?" he joked. But the audience responded with weak applause. Jack Nicholson, still sitting with a smug grin, merely shrugged. "The kid couldn't handle the pressure," he muttered, sparking outraged shouts from the crowd. Backstage, Amara Jones, Nkuti's publicist, was furious, demanding answers from the producers. "You knew this would happen," she yelled at Marcus Reed, who avoided her gaze. Social media was ablaze. The hashtag number Nkuti walks off topped trends, with clips of the confrontation racking up tens of millions of views. Fans and celebrities voiced support. Nkuti Gatwa is the embodiment of dignity. Shame on Jake Wolf and Jack Nicholson, tweeted acclaimed director Ava Chen. But there were critics too. Nkuti's too sensitive, not ready for Hollywood, some wrote, echoing Nicholson's insults. The media pounced, with headlines ranging from "Scandal on Wolf's Show" to "Gatwa walks out defying toxicity." The next day, Wolf's show was under fire. Sponsors, feeling public pressure, began pulling support. The network announced an internal investigation, and a petition to fire Wolf gathered 100,000 signatures in a day. His reputation, already tarnished by past scandals, collapsed. On Twitter, he tried to defend himself. "It was just a tough interview. People are too sensitive." But this only fueled the fire, and hashtag #CancelWolf went viral. Nicholson, though less affected, faced backlash too. His comments about acting like a sissy, were called outdated and offensive, with articles dissecting his legacy through the lens of this incident. Some defended him as a product of his era, but younger audiences demanded accountability. Despite the emotional blow, Nkuti received a wave of support. His speech about respect and authenticity inspired many. Stars, from actors to musicians, publicly praised his courage. The premiere of Echoes of Tomorrow became an event. Tickets sold out, and critics called Nkuti's performance power trade-offs and soulful. His career not only survived but thrived, solidifying his status as a voice of a new generation. Society began discussing broader issues: toxic masculinity, racism in media, and the ethics of interviews. Debates about cancel culture and power dynamics in Hollywood flooded podcasts and talk shows. In his first post-scandal interview, Nkuti said, "I didn't aim to be a hero. I just wanted to be myself." A month later, Wolf's show was canceled, and he vanished from the public eye, his career a cautionary tale about crossing lines. Nicholson retreated into the shadows, his comments leaving a stain on his legend. Nkuti, however, continued to shine, his resilience a symbol of strength. The incident remained etched in memory as a moment when truth triumphed over arrogance. What do you think of this moment? Will it change Hollywood? Share your thoughts in the comments and subscribe to stay updated with the latest stories.